And we start with Egypt, as Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli held a number of meetings with the senior state officials on important domestic files.
The meeting came in line with the directives of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to continue the development path nationwide.
Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli on Monday asserted the government's keenness on following up the repercussions of the social platforms and the electronic games non-abidance to the safety criteria for kids and youth. The Prime Minister made these remarks at a meeting which focused on the procedures taken to protect the kids from the harmful content circulated through the social media and the legislations proposed to that end. In another meeting, Madbouli announced the launch of the General Population Census for 2027. Chairing a meeting for the Higher Committee for the General Census for the Population, Housing and Facilities, the Prime Minister noted that such a census is an important opportunity for providing the needs of the different government authorities through offering them an integrated database that may need to promote public services and achieve the aspired developmental objectives. Separately, Prime Minister Madbouli pointed out to the presidential directives on the quick implementation of the shore protection projects amid the rapid climate changes. The Prime Minister made these remarks as he chaired the follow-up meeting of the pace of work at the shore protection project, saying that the government seeks to provide sustainable funds needed to their completion. To the same end, Madbouli also chaired a meeting on the development and the services projects in the canal city of Suez. The meeting reviewed the projects carried out last year in different sectors in addition to the government's efforts in the public health care, food and agricultural fields. An international conference on the enhancement of the women's rights wrapped up its activities. Announcing the recommendations at the conference's concluding session, Al-Azhar Under Secretary Mohammed Abdulrahman Ad-Duwaini said that Egypt deems women a key partner in the sustainable development process and the main pillar in the 2030 vision. Thus, her status should be enhanced. Ad-Duwaini also urged a rational media tackling of the social and the religious issues pertaining to women in coordination with the official religious institutions. The two-day conference dubbed Investing in the Religious and the Media Discourse to protect and promote women's rights in the member states of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation was held in Cairo under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and organized by the National Council for Women, Al-Azhar Institution and the Organization for Islamic Cooperation.
Egypt condemned last week's terrorist attack on an Air Force base in Niger's capital that wounded 4 soldiers and damaged an aircraft. A foreign ministry statement said Egypt stands in solidarity with the government and the people of the Niger in the fight against terrorism threats. The statement voiced Cairo's commitment to continuous support to the fellow African countries in the Sahel region in their drive towards stability. The terrorist Daesh group claimed responsibility for the attack that began around midnight on Wednesday and lasted about 2 hours in the area of Dioro Hamani International Airport in Niamey.
Procedures were taken to receive the first group of the Palestinian arrivals from Gaza through the Egyptian side of the Rafah border crossing, shortly after its opening on the Palestinian side. State television reported the entry of 5 Palestinian wounded and 7 escorts on board 3 Egyptian ambulances ahead of the admission into hospitals. Meanwhile, the Egyptian Red Crescent facilitated the reception and the arrival of the first group of Palestinian returnees to Gaza with the actual operation of the Palestinian side of the Rafah crossing. The Red Crescent has raised the alert for dealing with the Palestinians, whether entering Egypt for treatment or traveling home to Gaza, in a bid to alleviate their humanitarian suffering in coordination with the concerned authorities, the forefront of which is the health and the Social Solidarity Ministries.
Egypt continued delivering humanitarian and relief aid to Palestinians in Gaza via Rafah border crossing as part of its Zad al-Azza initiative. The 129th convoy included tons of aid, including food, supplies, relief and medical supplies, fuels, as well as winter-related materials, including clothes, shelter materials, and tents. The Red Crescent Society is the national mechanism for coordinating humanitarian assistance to Gaza since the crisis began in October of 2023.
Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources Karim Badawi met with a number of heads and officials of the world oil and gas firms operating in Egypt. The meeting tackled the plan for intensifying research, exploration and production, as well as increasing the rates of work during the 5 coming years. Badawi asserted the ministry's keenness on boosting measures that aim at expanding investments and production of the raw materials, and pointed out to the investment opportunities in several areas, especially in west of the Mediterranean Sea and some regions in the Western Desert.
Minister of Planning, Economic Development and International Cooperation Rania Al-Mashat and Acting Minister of Environment and Minister of Local Development Manal Awad on Monday chaired a committee meeting of the Projected Management of Air Pollution and Climate Change in Cairo. The meeting, attended by a World Bank mission and the governors of Cairo and Al-Qalyubiyya, touched on the progress made in this file as well as priorities of the upcoming period. Al-Mashat hailed the extended partnership between Egypt and the World Bank, having included more than 200 projects in different development fields. The two ministers then witnessed the experimental operation of an electric bus in the framework of supplying 100 green buses.
Egypt's stock market indices fluctuated in the trading session amid selling and purchasing operations by the optimistic investors on both directions. The benchmark EGX 30 index shed 0.12% to the level of 47,606.28 points. Meanwhile, the EGX 70 index for the small and medium businesses gained 0.72%. The broader EGX 100 index also gained 0.64% at the closure. The market capitalization gained £5 billion to close at £3,168 billion amid transactions of about £30.3 billion.